I really want kids, but it's your fault. I had to hold back because you're not good enough. These mean things were said to me by my husband of 20 years. It became clear to me that I couldn't stay with him. He is thinking about his new wife while he's away. God must have been looking and seeing this evil thing happen. That's the reason why my husband had something happen. I'm 45 years old and my name is Lisa. I'm a secretary at a law company. We've been married for almost 20 years. Just the two of us, we've lived a simple life. We've always wanted kids, but we weren't able to have any. I seemed to be the main cause of the trouble. I worked and went to treatments at the same time, which wore me out physically, mentally, and financially, but it didn't help. We chose to end things when I turned 40. My husband wanted kids until the very end and told me to keep going to treatments, but I couldn't. It hurt too much, and the money was just slipping away. It was a scary situation. People say that you need $200,000 to retire. Putting more money into it seemed like a waste. Let's stop going to therapy and just live together. Now that we don't have kids, we can save money and go on nice trips, I offered. My husband reluctantly agreed. We chose to enjoy our lives together after that. I still felt a twinge of sorrow when I saw pictures of kids on TV or in greeting cards. I feel guilty and sorry that I couldn't have children even though it's been 5 years since I stopped treatment. Then, after about 10 years, I chose to go to a school reunion. My husband told me to take a break, so I chose to spend the night close to the event. It was like taking a short trip. I knew I hadn't been out by myself in a long time since we got married. Treatments for infertility had taken over my life. It's fine to treat yourself every once in a while, right? I had a good time seeing old friends at the place. Hi Lisa, it's been a while. What's up? A little less fat than before, don't you think? In fact, I had lost 22 pounds in the past 10 years. I feel so envious. I've put on almost 33 pounds since I got married and had kids. It hurts a little when a friend talks about something so unimportant. Lisa, any kids? We couldn't, they said. My husband and I are the only ones there. It's my fault for asking such a silly question. Don't worry, let's have fun. I did my best to keep the mood lively and happy. In related news, my son almost fell for a marriage scam not long ago. A scam? I was shocked by what my friend said. Yes, he was asked to lend $20,000 because they were getting married, but it didn't go through. What happened then? My son couldn't pay that much, so he asked us, his parents, what he should do. That's how we found out about the scam. Finally, the woman was no longer there. That story is very scary. There are some really bad people in the world. A marriage scam? It surprised me that something like that could happen so near my house. The parents of her son seemed happy that he has a new girlfriend. Everything went well at the gathering, and it ended in the end. I didn't go to the after party. Instead, I went back to my hotel and had a drink by myself. I guess I forgot to check in with my husband. He should still be awake since it was only 10 p.m. I called home, but my husband never picked up, no matter how many times I let it ring. He might have already been asleep. It didn't matter because I was going back tomorrow anyway. It was still making me feel uncomfortable. Was it a woman's gut feeling? Something was making me feel bad. Following that, my husband started coming home very late during the week, and almost every night he were drunk. Hey, I'm at home. You're so drunk when you get home. Are you all right? My husband got so drunk that he threw off his shoes and fell to the floor in the living room. Be quiet. I'm at home. Do the right thing. What exactly do you respect? The state of his love. I kept my thoughts to myself as I picked up my husband's dirty socks and shirt. Alyssa was cute, wasn't she? You know, if you were as young as Alyssa. That's what my partner said. Who the heck is Alyssa? If I were young, what does he mean? He was already sound asleep when I thought to ask him a question. Could he be seeing someone else? From that day on, my unease turned into determination. My husband is a good man, so there's no way he could do that. It must be nonsense from being drunk. I told myself that. My husband, on the other hand, leaves early on the weekends and doesn't come back until late at night. I'll be back now. Be careful. After that, he always gets drunk and goes home. Since this happens every week, I had to step in. Today it looks like you're drinking almost every day. Are we doing okay with money? Take care of yourself. I can spend the money however I please. It's the money I saved when I was single. But we need to save up for our old age, or we'll be in trouble in the future. Why don't you save up then? Well, I've spent quite a bit on treatments. That's because you're defective. I thought he was drunk because he wouldn't talk to me that way. I could see that my husband was changing. Now that I'm not getting treatment, have I become more submissive? My husband was saying more and more bad things about me. Since you can't have kids, you should show your affection for me instead. As he splurged and acted selfishly, I could feel my love for him fading. He used to be so nice and help me when I was having a hard time with surgery. Will he ever be that kind of husband again? After 20 years, what is a marriage? I began to wonder about this. But things changed quickly. Lisa, we need to talk. When I got home from work, my husband was sitting cross-eyed on the couch in the living room. What's it? The way you talk is very professional. I want a divorce. What? Are you kidding me? Why did you just say that? There was never a time when I thought my husband might want to split. I knew we needed to think about our relationship again now that we were married, but I hadn't thought about getting a divorce. Was my husband planning to leave me before I even thought about it? All of a sudden, you want to split up. What is going on? I spoke to my husband and asked him what was going on. Have you and I been together for 20 years? Let's talk about this the right way. That being said, he looked down at me. You're really clueless, aren't you? He let out a big sigh and glared at me. Explain yourself. I've always wished I had kids. I haven't been able to become a father for the past 20 years because I was stuck with a broken piece like you. Have you ever thought about how I feel? He slammed the table with a haughty tone as he talked. That's not fair. We talked about it and chose to stop the treatments. Do you remember? That was never okay with me. I want a child very much. Why didn't he tell me that before? I almost broke down in tears because I was so sad and angry. Well, if you sign the divorce papers, I won't have anything else to say. He pushed the divorce papers from the table towards me with pride. I've actually already decided to remarry. What? Get married again? Yes, with a girl of 20. What a girl! Are you saying that you've been seeing someone else? Not at all. I'm going to marry her as soon as we get a divorce. He said this with a smug grin on his face. My husband was getting married to a 20-year-old girl. This is not likely to happen. Alyssa is sweet and cute, she would make a great wife. Different from you. That day, my husband had told me your name was Alyssa. Women should not be fooled by their instincts. I was happy with how things were going. But now wasn't the time to praise yourself. Then my husband showed me a picture of his sweet Alyssa. When I looked more closely, I almost laughed out loud. There's no way this could be real. It has to be a joke. Would he notice how strange I sound? But I quickly calmed down again. I thought it was too early to tell him the joke, so I quickly calmed down. So, you really want a child that badly? Yes, since you can't give birth. We can't do anything about that, right? Is it true that you agreed to get a divorce? Well, I suppose there's no choice. I fake being more upset than I really am. I was mad when he first brought up the divorce, but now that I see how stupid he is, I think it's time to get a divorce right away. I should leave a man like this, yes. Somehow, I feel like God has told me to do it sooner or later. After getting a divorce, I left my husband behind. I think he'll feel bad about this soon. Let's wait and see. Let us jump ahead a year to the present. Lisa, please help me. A man who looks dirty comes up to me on my way home from work. Excuse me, who are you? I really don't know who he is. Hi, my name is Lisa. Please help me. That's my ex-husband. It's been a while. He's changed so much that it shocks me. His cheeks are hollow, and he's dressed badly. Please, Alice, introduce me to your company's lawyer. I can't just do that out of the blue. It looks like my ex-husband is having money problems. That much I could tell from the way he looked, but I never thought he would change so much in just 1 year. If it's your first time, consultation is free, but if you want to hire them, you'll have to pay their fee. I don't have that much cash. Help me, please. What the heck did that happen? Out of sadness, I chose to listen to a story at a nearby cafe. In fact, though, I stopped him before he could say anything else. Did that girl Alyssa run off? How did you know? It clicked when my ex-husband showed me a picture of a girl named Alyssa, just like I thought it would. The girl who lied to a classmate's son at a gathering looked just like that one. The classmate said, "I can't forgive that woman." And she passed around a picture of her to warn everyone. She was about 22 years old, and I think her name was Sally. Maybe her name and age aren't real, but it makes sense. The con artist wouldn't give her real name. You didn't know about Alyssa, right? You could say I knew, but what happened when I asked my husband to tell me more? This is the story he told. About a year ago, he met a woman named Alyssa in a club. The things my husband said to her made me think of how much he wants kids and how he has always wanted them. Alyssa then told her, "I can have a child for you." Their relationship grew stronger over time. In the following weeks, my husband went to the club almost every day. On the weekends, he dated Alyssa outside of the club and then went back to the club. In the end, he spent $10,000 from the savings he had built up while he was single. Alyssa was really nice, though. She never asked for anything fancy. She was happy drinking with me at the club even when we weren't there. You often hear about greedy club girls, but she wasn't like those girls. She didn't need expensive clothes or jewelry. She was happy as long as I was drinking with her at the club. She worked hard and was honest. We agreed when we were single not to touch each other's savings, so I didn't notice anything. I believed it was his money and he could do whatever he wanted with it. Oh, I didn't know he spent that much. Then Alyssa showed what she really thought. I want to get married, but I have debts, so I need to repay them, and it's about $20,000. Then my husband said he would pay off Alyssa's bill and sent her the money. They moved in together right after we got divorced, but Alyssa kept working at night and didn't come home very often. After that, she quit her job at the club and didn't show up again. Of course, she ran away with the money. How could he be so stupid? I felt bad that I had been married to that kind of man for 20 years. Did you make a promissory note? A what? And when I asked, my husband looked stunned. Didn't you lend her money? Why didn't you get a note? We were going to be a couple, so I didn't do such a thing. Really then? Doesn't that mean you gave her the money? Is that true? In this case, it seems like you donated $20,000 to Alyssa out of goodwill. This woman must be very good at what she does. If someone gives you more than $11,000 in gifts in a year, you have to pay gift tax. There is a chance that the receiver will be charged. This means that Alyssa just took $20,000 cash and ran away. She also split the money in half and paid herself back over 2 years. She wouldn't go over $11,000 that way, so she wouldn't have to pay taxes on it. Because she knew the law well, my husband thought she was a good girl who never asked for fancy gifts. So what should I do? I'm not sure. You could talk to a lawyer. But it will cost you. That made my husband's shoulders drop when he heard it. I spent all the money I had saved from being single. The woman I loved left me. After telling the company that I'm getting married again, I can't tell them that the marriage is over. I was proud of getting a younger wife. Doesn't he do that himself? I thought that because I saw how bad things were for him, I couldn't say anything. I'm to blame, Lisa. Come back to me, please. As soon as you left, I knew you were the only person who cared about me. I no longer need children. You can do what you want. You had to be lonely too, right? Do I still love my husband but not make it clear to him? In my mind, that matter was over 6 months ago, so I told him the truth. It's been a year. Why did you change your mind so quickly? Isn't it already a bit late? Are you going to leave me, Lisa? You were the one who first wanted us to get a divorce, remember? Lisa, you're the only person I trust. My ex-husband looked completely worn out. I made up my mind to be kind to him. All right then. Should I call a lawyer friend of mine? Thank you, Lisa. I knew I could depend on you. With tears in his eyes, my ex-husband looked like he was truly thankful. The person who came to the coffee shop was Mr. Johnson, a lawyer from my firm. John, over here. Lisa, who's this? My ex-husband seemed a little confused by how familiar we seemed. You see, we've been seeing each other for 6 months. What did you need help with? When I was done talking, my ex-husband looked like he was lost. No, well, I think that'll be it for today. My ex-husband quickly left the coffee shop after waking up from his dream. He finally gave up trying to hire a lawyer because he didn't have the money. His company is said to be full of talk about how bad things are for him because his soon-to-be wife left him and his ex-wife didn't care about him. It's not that far away. Who would have thought that one of his co-workers was in the same coffee shop and actually heard the whole thing? I heard that he's desperately trying to find a new partner because he's afraid of being alone in old age. Who was that guy? Afterward, Mr. Johnson asked me about it, and I told him the whole story. I'm sorry I brought you into this. The fact is, I see you've had quite the ordeal, Lisa. The part where I said I was dating Mr. Johnson was not true. I asked him to join in the lie. Sorry for all the trouble. Don't worry, Lisa. I'm glad I could help. Also, do you have any plans for after this? Excuse me? How about grabbing something to eat if you'd like? This sudden change in events caught me off guard, and I was a little upset. A new start when I'm in my 40s. This isn't a terrible start. Yes, I'd love to. I was sure that my future would be full of fun. I couldn't get rid of this mood.